Welcome back to All Pro Football Data. Today is a podcast. So, I uploaded my podcast from my Patreon page about quarterback dynasty rankings. So, feel free to listen. I hope you enjoy it. And make sure you guys consider leaving a like, subscribing, commenting on this video, etc. But I hope you enjoy it. I hope this helps your daily commute or whatever else you guys are doing out there to give you a little bit of enjoyment as we talk about these quarterbacks. All Pro Football Data Podcast. My name is Jim Coburn, and today's episode we're talking about top tier targets, guys you draft early, specifically quarterbacks. We're going to be taking a look at all the quarterbacks in this particular draft class. We're going to highlight their data to kind of see where they go as far as dynasty rankings. So we're going to start with the first one and go all the way to the bottom. So first off, Cam Ward, the Tennessee Titans' first overall pick. Cam Ward isn't just the top draft pick. He's the top dynasty prospect. He checks nearly every analytical box. 90th percentile in terms of his best quarterback efficiency, 83rd percentile in career efficiency, 81st in mobile quarterback score, 96th in expected approximate value, and then 99th percentile in terms of his draft status adjusted score. Red zone situations, he's elite. Third down, again, elite. The only knock, a 42nd percentile sack rate and 55th percentile age score, but the upside is enormous. If you want your dynasty team to have a potential franchise quarterback, Cam Ward is your guy. Next up, quarterback number 2 is Jackson Dart of the New York Giants with the 25th overall pick. Jackson Dart has become a polarizing name. Some compare him to Jalen Hurts, but analytically and stylistically, he's more Daniel Jones 2.0. He's mobile, but inconsistent. That said, the numbers are promising. 82nd percentile in his mobile quarterback score, 90 in terms of best quarterback efficiency, 89th percentile in terms of his age, and 86th percentile in terms of his draft status adjusted score. He's a high variance prospect, but in Superflex or 2 QB leagues, the ceiling is worth the investment. So I highly, highly, highly recommend that you draft Jackson Dart early and often if you're considering him in sort of a Superflex or 2 QB league. Tier number 2, these are dynasty investments, high ceiling, lower cost. These guys are your second tier players to target, to invest in late round 1 or round 2 of rookie drafts. First guy on this list is Dillon Gabriel of the Cleveland Browns at pick 94. His mobile quarterback score is 94. His best QB efficiency was 94, and his career efficiency was 93. But here's the red flag. 70th percentile age score. He's older than you think. Still, his 99th percentile third down production score means he could sneak in starter reps quickly if the Browns struggle. Next up on this list is Jalen Milroe of the Seattle Seahawks, 99th percentile in terms of his mobile quarterback score, but his red zone numbers are rough. 32nd percentile, and his sack rate is a concern of 18th percentile. He's a boomer bust stash quarterback, especially in leagues that reward rushing quarterbacks. So despite some of the concerns with his red zone numbers and his sack rate, he could put in work very akin to other mobile quarterbacks. And you're betting on him making that transition at the next level. Then the third option is Shedeur Sanders of the Cleveland Browns as well. Elite efficiency profile, but terrible mobility and a 10th percentile sack rate. He may thrive in a clean pocket system, but his draft capital makes him risky. Between the two, of Gabriel and Sanders, Gabriel has a better profile. The Browns invested a higher draft pick in Gabriel, which means they believe that he was the better quarterback compared to Shedeur Sanders. Not saying Sanders is not a threat, but the Browns have already spoken to a certain extent of who they believe is the better quarterback, and the data also suggests that Gabriel will likely be that. However, if you're a Shedeur Sanders fanboy, if you love Shedeur Sanders, if you cannot believe that Shedeur Sanders fell as far as he did in the draft, then this should definitely be your guy in that particular area of the draft, but don't expect him to be a mobile quarterback. His production would probably be more akin to, say, a Joe Burrow or another quarterback who's strapped to the pocket. Tier 3, Dynasty Flyers and Watch List. These are the names that you don't want to forget that may not start week 1, but they have the tools worth taking. First off is Kyle McCord of the Eagles at 181. Good production, bad mobility, but 96th percentile expected approximate value. That is worth it, especially in a situation where the Eagles may lose Jalen Hurts for any amount of time. Then we have Tyler Show of the Saints, pick 40. Oldest quarterback in the class, first percentile age score, but solid across the board otherwise. Look at him as sort of an Aiden O'Connell, a guy that potentially could get you through some tough weeks if you are really weak at quarterback, but not somebody I would invest in heavily, even for dynasty formats, because of how old he is and the high bust rate of quarterbacks that are that old. Then you have Will Howard of the Steelers, strong mobility and sack avoidance, has a path to become the starter for the Steelers. Considering some of the quarterback issues that they have there, he could become the starter there, but does have some question marks as well in terms of age and other factors like that. Then the Dolphins at pick 231 have Quinn Ewers, high ceiling but late pick. 96 in terms of his best quarterback efficiency is worth noting, but it's sort of a long shot. However, with the injury history that we know that the Dolphins have struggled with in that position, I definitely think Ewers is worth stashing, especially as a handcuff at that position. Then, of course, you have Riley Leonard of the Colts, pick 189, 98th percentile mobility, low ceiling otherwise. Then we have Cam Miller of the Raiders at pick 215. The North Dakota State prospect is athletic, but has weak draft capital. But when you look at the Raider situation with Geno Smith, I think it is a good bet to say that Cam Miller could emerge as a starter there. Cam Miller is a much better passer, but Tommy does have the wheels that could make him fantasy relevant. And then, of course, you have Brady Cook of the Jets. 89th percentile mobility, good red zone efficiency, could make noise on a weak quarterback depth chart that lacks players to really take another step. Now, the next area we look at is late round sleepers and long shots. Now, don't write these guys off just yet. They've got something to the data to keep tabs on. This includes Seth Hennigan, the Jaguars undrafted free agent, 99th percentile third down production and 60th percentile mobility. Max Brosmer of the Vikings, excellent career efficiency but not mobile. Peyton Thorne of the Bengals, depth quarterback with modest production. I think, again, I would put those in sort of the long shot category there. And then Ethan Garbers, Ben Woolridge, and Connor Bazelak. You're looking at a camp body or taxi squad players here, barring surprises. So my final thoughts in terms of dynasty strategy this year, and here's how I approach the 2025 quarterback class in dynasty formats. The two quarterbacks that you should target early are Cam Ward and Jackson Dart. Then, in terms of mid-round area, you should be looking at Dylan Gabriel, Jalen Milroe, or Shadur Sanders, depending on how you feel about them. If you're more of a Sanders fan, definitely go with him. If you're more of a Dylan Gabriel fan, you go with that. But they really have very similar profiles of very similar strengths and weaknesses. Now, after that, stash, track, and scoop, if cheap, is Kyle McCord, Tyler Show, Will Howard, Quinn Ewers, Cam Miller, Tommy Malote, Riley Leonard, and Brady Cook. Those would be the guys that you would add as a flyer or late round guy if you're just trying to find some depth at the position, but are definitely long shots. That wraps our 2025 Dynasty quarterback breakdown. Next episode, we're going to be diving into rookie running backs and which ones have true third down potential with a decent pathway to become a starter. Be sure to follow, rate, and drop your questions on Twitter at Geometrics. Until next time, keep grinding the data and keep building that dynasty.